everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. I've been thinking a bit about Power Rangers these past few days, and I kind of wanted to share some of my thoughts with you today. Don't worry, I won't go too deep into the actual history of this franchise, or into any of the various themes and storylines that it has explored. Plenty of other people have done this much better than I could ever hope. I'll link two of them in the description below, along with my own social media links. Instead, I want to explore Power Rangers within the sphere of ideas, within the sphere of narrative opportunities. What can you, and more precisely to look at what what stories you can tell from the framework of a bunch of teens in matching colorful costumes who have to fight various weird monsters and thereby fend off alien invaders. What kind of story potential is there in that setting? To be fair, this setting does allow for a bit of a variety. Namely, you don't always have teenagers. You sometimes have you can have 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds in the matching costumes, and sometimes the alien invader isn't actually alien, but more like something akin to a personification of a force of nature, something along those lines. You wouldn't think you can do much with that concept, because after all, it's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. You have one side that is good, one side that is bad, and they just quite literally fight. As Movie Bob once put it, it's Sesame Street with kicking. To which I say, that is true, but the main things that allow for storytelling isn't what is in the actual text, or what is in the actual direct plotline or concept. It's in what concepts you can stick to this initial narrative device and how you can have those develop. Of these, I will only name two, and also go into them. Namely, good versus evil on the one hand, and on the other hand, a coming-of-age story. What does it mean to come of age, and how is that related into this particular story? Let's start with good versus evil. It's pretty basic. And I've already said one side is good, one side is evil, and they're designated as such. The trick comes from showing what makes the good side good and what makes the evil side evil. Most of the time, the evil side is just evil because they have power and they want to use it to gain more power, which is pretty simple, pretty easy to follow. And the good guys are just good because they see people who are powerful and say that they do not want that there. They don't want to depend on what happens somewhere else or on the decisions of other people. They want to take that power into their own hands. Surprisingly enough, that the story that's basically built off of "Get Off My Land" does not attract a lot of alt-writers. The reason for that is tied somewhat into what makes the good guys good. The fact that they are diverse and they recognize though keep in mind, diversity isn't necessarily the strength. There have been plenty of bad factions that have been somewhat diverse, or that don't necessarily come from a homogeneous background. But the good side is almost always heterogeneous. Like, I can't think of any single one that is really like from the same household or the same neighborhood or anything like that. Instead, and also, it's not just that they're heterogeneous, it's that the fact that they have differing backgrounds allows them to bring in differing strengths to the team. And with these differing strengths, they have more uh, that creates a new strength. That creates more opportunities, more means by which they can defeat this this powerful outsider that is has quite literally overwhelmed a lot of other beings so far. And I think that's what allowed them to. I think that's what allowed them to steady the attention of some attention and admiration of some more unsavory aspects of society, which is kind of interesting to consider. However, has it always been that? Well, no. To be honest, no, it hasn't. A lot of what makes the bad guys bad and the good guys good also stems somewhat from the other aspect of the story, namely coming of age. What does it mean to find your own place in a new or changing world? And also, what do you want? What do you want to be? What do you want to be defined by? That is something that does come up to some extent in a lot of Power Rangers stories. A lot of them also have at least one character who is new to any given community. Maybe they just moved into some city. Maybe they just transferred to some school. That kind of thing. And it is through their interactions with people who already have a history, already have somewhat of a common history, or who have or who do already know each other, that they come to know that this new character, this new guy to the community, comes to know and understand themselves. And that is something that the villain would more often than not erase, and that is why, and that is one of the reasons why it is so important for the good side to win, because the good side allows diversity, allows spontaneity, allows basically freedom. And also from that point forward, you can also tell stories about friendship, about solidarity, about responsibility, about bravery, about what it means to stick together, and why people should stick together, why being together and having a solid working relationship has its points, has its purpose. It does explore these ideas in a more out there way, but I think overall it does these things well. It pretty much always knows what it wants to do. Well, okay, almost always. The best parts of Power Rangers always know what they set out to do, and they always use their setting to their advantage. They can find a way to explore that aspect of the story through the ways they communicate. And I can't help but say that this is quite a good thing to have out there. And overall, Power Rangers has proven itself to be a force for good. And it's the force for good that keeps on giving. And I kind of hope it keeps on giving for quite a long time. that's been the video. Sorry if I've been a bit rambly. I didn't really have any script for this. I just kind of winged it. I hope you enjoyed it regardless. If you did, leave a like. If you have anything you'd like to add, the comment section is widely available. And if you want to see when the next video comes out, spoiler alert, it's going to be next week. But if you want to see when exactly next week, then go ahead and subscribe. Maybe also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.